From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review.
Crystal Palace. There is this notion that a simple idea can be all it takes. One thunderbolt of inspiration that changes things. A change in perspective that seems so obvious when it's been thought of, but the real key is thinking of it. And then things change. This is, of course, a lie. Having the idea, the magnesium burst, is the easy part. Then you have to implement that idea, make it real and not just the adrenaline exhilaration of something new. Stories have lied to us. They paint a picture of luminous genius, the muse working through fingers that are just vessels for the force of art. And it makes sense. The intangible is far more interesting than the truth. And the truth is that creation is graft. It is endless chipping away at an idea, honing the idea and polishing it. When you experience the final product of all that work, you don't see the endless scrubbed out lines, the bum chords, or the splashes of poorly placed colour. You see the idea, brilliant and clear, and that light blinds you to the work that has gone in. The creative process is dull. And that's fine, because it's the product of that process that is there to delight us. In Crystal Palace from Carsten Lauber and Feuerlandspieler, a great idea has been refined and polished, and this has resulted in a game that has been engineered to provide challenge and engagement in equal measure. In Crystal Palace, players take on the roles of sovereign nations mounting exhibitions at the First World Exposition in 1851. Play starts in 1849 and plays through to the opening of the Expo. During the game, players will visit various locations in London and build prototypes of new inventions, recruit luminaries of the day and harness all of the engineering might that Victorian Britain can offer. Crystal Palace is a dice worker placement game that has one central twist, and it is from this twist that the game blossoms. You don't roll your dice or level them up. You choose the values that you want them to be, higher being better, but you have to pay for it. And as money is incredibly tight and loans particularly punishing, the trade-off between power and economy fires off more unintended consequences than an Edisonian electric consequence producer. The game is refreshing in that it's hard. It puts players against one another and the game itself. There is real brain engagement, and this is refreshing in an age of games being Skinner boxified. You have to think to get what you want, and it is this challenge that makes the game so enjoyable. Every round starts with you choosing the values on your dice, and then you pay £1 a pip. This simple central conceit propels all of your subsequent actions, and going for 1 pip too many might leave you scrabbling for the rest of the game. This is not simply a game of one idea though. Crystal Palace is a brilliantly tooled machine that flows wonderfully from round to round and has a delightfully deep decision space. Good games don't railroad players into one strategy. It is through the implementation of your own ideas that you will feel ownership of your game, and Crystal Palace offers legitimately different ways to victory. Still, these paths all centre around the clever deployment of cash. Do you splash at the beginning, taking a lead and hoping you don't get reeled in? Do you scrimp and save and wait for the final round splurge? Do you go heavy into inventions or court the great and good of the age, or just develop a huge amount of hype around your exhibition? Or a little bit of all of those? You can leverage your own style of play in Crystal Palace and, most importantly, win with it. There are teeth in the box too. This is not just a game of fighting against your own deficiencies. You can be gazumped by your opponents, or the game can come crashing down on you if you spend too much cash. This is not the random nemesis of the gods though. There are reasons for your success or failure, and keeping an eye on the machinations of your opponents keeps you engaged for the whole game. Crystal Palace feels like a game that has been developed from one single great idea, but it is clear that this was just the starting point, and from there real work was put in to make a game that is as good as anything I've played all year. If you like challenge, if you like to think, then play Crystal Palace. You won't regret it. Thank you for listening, and you can support this show by going to patreon.com/5G4D.